Hey, fourth graders, Mr. Crowell back here with you again. And this time we're going to go over lesson 3. We got lesson 3 up here. And the reading for lesson 3 is going to be page 14 through 19. So open up your book of Anatomy of a Volcanic Eruption. And please come to page 14 while you're doing that. I'm going to go over a few things up here so you can kind of be reading and listening at the same time. Lesson 3, our vocabulary. We have 3 words we'll be looking for today. So again, if you look for those words, and my class, my kids will raise your hand. You can raise your hand. You don't have to. But if you can at least say, hey, there it is, point to it. Originate is one of our vocabulary words. Expected and structures. We'll kind of talk about each one because you'll need to kind of know which each one is in order to do some writing in your Writer's Journal. Your reading assignment is go to page 264. We'll talk about that later. And also writing assignment. It's also on page 267. We will talk a little bit about that when we get there. So please have your books open up to chapter 2, page 14. And we're going to start reading. It is called Fountains of Fire. Now please, as we read, please track, follow me in your reading at home. And we will kind of be able to read together. And so, you guys ready? I'm ready. Let's get going. Fountains of Fire. Here we are on Chapter 2, on page 14 and 15. We've got a great diagram of a volcano. And so we've got some great labels here with some pointing, some arrows. And so we'll start up here, a vent, which is the top opening of the conduit with the very top. Down below it, we have flank, which is the side of the volcano. We have a lava, which is coming out. We have the crater, which is right there. And then the crater is a indent in the top of the volcano where the lava flows originate. Time to raise your hand. That is correct. It is number 1 on our vocabulary board. Originate. Originate is something that is specifically the beginning of something, where it all began, where it all started. So when you have something that originates, that means it starts there. So that is originate. Something that starts at the beginning of something. So 1 down, 2 to go. On page 15, we've got some other, let's go over some of the labels here. Ash cloud up in the air, we see that. There you go, Mr. Crowell. We see the summit, which is the highest part, which is right up here of a volcano. The conduit is the pipe that the magma travels up, right there, to reach the Earth's surface, and the magma chamber down below where kind of boils, and down there is the bottom part of the volcano where the magma is stored. Up here, we have a nice text box. Let's talk about that. Volcano classification, active volcanoes. Volcanoes that have had at least 1 eruption in recorded history. That means they're active, they're going. Dormant, volcanoes that do not have an eruption in historic time, but are expected to erupt again in the future. Expected. Good job. Somebody raise your hand. I saw somebody out there. Expected. Now, Mr. Crowell, you said that you would write some of this information, and I did, and I forgot to write that something originate, back to originate, is something specific. Specific. And it is at the beginning. There you go, Mr. Crowell. Now we can go to expected. Expected is something that is known. We just know it. We understand it. It is likely to happen. I know you probably at home are going, I can't read that, Mr. Crowell. Those are awfully small letters, and you can't even see them on your, there we go, Mr. Crowell. Oh, there we go. Nicely done. I'll lean in here. Hello. And then, yeah, known, likely to happen, expected. So that is our second of our 2 vocabulary words. On the bottom of our text box here, extinct volcanoes. Volcanoes that have not had any eruptions in the last 10,000 years and are not expected to erupt again. They're just not going to go anywhere. They are done. Page 16, folks. Page 16. Please turn to page 16. Types of volcanoes. There are different kinds of volcanoes. These include stratovolcanoes, cinder cones, and shield volcanoes. Stratovolcanoes often take millions of years to form. Numerous eruptions and layers of ash and lava have built up on their sides. They are sometimes called composite volcanoes. Examples include Mount St. Helens, near us, Mount Fuji, Mount Rainier, ding, 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 just right in my backyard. Well, all of ours, that direction, and Mount Hood. Here's a picture right here showing Mount Fuji, which looks a lot like Mount Rainier. Cinder cones are the simplest and smallest volcanoes. They are relatively short, usually 1,000 feet or 305 meters or less in height. Many have a bowl-shaped crater at their summit. Most originate from single eruptions. Originate. One of our, I see, yeah, somebody's hand went up. Mr. Crowell, originate, a specific beginning. It begins, the beginning of something. And then here on the very bottom of our cinder cone is a cinder cone. This is example is a label of one in the Hawaiian island of Maui. All right, page 17, please. Page 17, halfway through. Lava domes form when lava that pushes out of a conduit is too thick and sticky to move a great distance. It builds up into a round domed mass of lava. An example of this is the Novrupta Dome in Alaska. Sorry, folks, with that pronunciation. Mount St. Helens built several lava domes in its crater after it violently erupted in May of 1980. I was a kid, I remember that. And there is that dome there in Alaska. Down below, shield volcanoes are built up almost entirely of lava flows. They are called shield volcanoes because their shape resembles a warrior shield. These volcanoes are generally very large and wide. Mauna Loa and Kilauea in Hawaii are examples of shield volcanoes. And this is Ducknop, a shield volcano in Oregon. Go Ducks. There it is. Oregon. Go Ducks. Here we go. Page 18. Page 18. Looks like we have almost done with our reading today. Other volcanic structures. Structures. Ding, 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 ding. Last of the vocabulary words. I think it's going to be in this little paragraph. There are other types of volcanic structures besides mountains. These include plugs, mud volcanoes, geysers, fumaroles, and hot springs. So structures. Mr. Carl, what is a structure? A structure is a arrangement of elements or parts. So a structure is something that is built upon and it is formed and it is an arrangement of something, whether it's a structure of blocks, which is an arrangement of blocks or what have you. These volcanic structures are made and they have different kinds of shapes of mountains. So geysers are, back on page 18, geysers are hot springs that periodically erupt, shooting steam and water in the air. The water is heated by the hot rocks deep in Earth's crust. There is the Pohutu Geyser in New Zealand. The fact, which is a little label box down here, geysers can be found on every continent except Antarctica. Page 19, our last page that we are reading today. Fumaroles are openings in Earth's crust near a volcano. They are spots where hot steam and other gases escape. Yellow sulfur deposits often encrust outside of a fumarole. Fumaroles are common on active volcanoes. Increased formalic activity on a dormant volcano is a clue that a dramatic eruption may occur in the future. And here we have a little label here with some. The scientists are collecting gas samples at one. Down below, a plug volcano are landforms that occur when magma hardens inside the vents of active volcanoes. The magma plugs the vents. Over time, the outside part of the volcano is worn away through erosion. Eventually, the plug is all that is left. An example of this landform is Devil's Tower in Wyoming. And here we see that right there. And then the little table box down here, label box, local Native Americans consider Devil's Tower to be a sacred place. That is the end of page 19. Nice job, everybody. Hopefully you were able to stay with me. Again, our vocabulary words: originate, specific, something in the beginning, expected, known, likely to happen, structures, arrangement of elements and parts. Your reading assignment for Lesson 3 is out of your Reader's Writer's Journal. You will get this. You will turn to page for the reading assignment. Turn to page 264, 264, 264. There it is. You will use our words, put them into sentences, and then, of course, you will read the directions here. Reread page 16 through 19 of Anatomy of Volcanic Eruption. Which type of volcano do you think is most interesting? What key details about this type of volcano interest you the most? Use evidence from your text to support your answer. There you go. Then for your writing assignment, which almost seems like it's a writing assignment, but it's actually a reading assignment, down to 267, and you will go to the top of 267. Your direction is to write an informative explanatory paragraph that explains what a volcanologist, I'm having a hard time here, that's a mouthful, what a volcanologist does. Remember to group related information, and use proper headings. You know what, boys and girls, if you don't have that space is not enough for you, get a big lined piece of paper, and you can just put it on that, and that will be good for that. Okay, well, that concludes our lesson number 3. Nice job. Thanks for listening. Good luck, everybody. We miss you all. Have a great day.